just my children and my wife. Thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA. There's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the
and the million faces born together, made for elevation. And the soldier won't surrender faith. This like a fire that never burns to embers. The voice of the unheard. Love is the answer.
I gotta speak it, believe it, that's how I feel inside.
I can't sit here quiet.
You can take my heart, you can take my breath, when you pry it from the cold dead chest.
This is how we rise up. Heavy as a hurricane, louder than a freight train. This is how we rise up. Heart is beating faster, feels like thunder. Magic static, call me a fanatic. It's our world, they can never have it. This is how we rise up. It's our resistance, you can't resist us. Can you hear me? Are you listening? Sleeping and the shadows could be making history. Through the fire, on the water, used to be a slave, but now you are a conqueror.
They can take my heart, they can take my breath, when they pry it from the cold dead chest.
This is how we rise up. Heavy as a hurricane, louder than a freight train. This is how we rise up. Heart is beating faster, feels like thunder. Magic static, call me a fanatic. It's our world, they can never
Look at that. We're going to be 10 seconds early today. Oh, my God. What am I going to do with myself all this time? Whew. I'm ahead of schedule by a whole 6 seconds. So, guys, welcome to another edition of Straight Talk with Joe Vollano. Welcome you all here. As all of you know, I am Joe Vollano. I am your guiding light through all the craziness that's going on in the world today. And there is a lot of craziness going on in the world today. So, we started the show this evening with a great song. And, proud to be an American. And again, we are the last beacon of freedom in the world. And when I see people in Cuba protesting, which is very rare down there because you could be killed for doing such a thing. We take it for granted here in the United States because and people here are protesting in these foreign countries like Cuba, and they say, hey, you know what? They're protesting. That's a big deal there. You could be friggin' killed for what they're doing. Americans take that for granted here in the United States. And I think if you just took a step back and really understood the power of what's going on, the powerful movement that's going on down in Cuba right now, it's something to be at awe in, because these people are literally putting their lives on the line to help make the people aware of what's going on there. Now, granted, most of us know what's going on there. We've been knowing what's going on there for the last 30 years, or actually really 60 years altogether. And it's horrible. And what is the White House's response? We're going to get into that because it's extremely important, because it just shows you their way of thinking. But before we get too ahead of ourselves, as always, like I said, I'm Joe Vollano. I am your host. And if you want to be part of the show, which is always a great thing, I always love when you guys call in and join the conversation. 203-679-9610, 203-679-9610, or you can email us at straighttalkjv@gmail.com. Or as always, I see Facebook is up and running, and I know last week we had a late start on the Facebook chat for some reason. But I see everybody is here. And Sue, thank you for joining us from your vacation down in Wildwood, New Jersey. You should be here. You should be here. I'm glad you're here. So we have a lot to talk about tonight. Again, we're going to talk about Cuba because, again, I don't think people understand what's actually going on down there. So we're going to try to shed some light on it. We're going to talk about, excuse me. We're going to talk about the steering committee for the city of Meriden for the $36 million in the Federal Rescue Act relief funds that are coming to the city. We're going to talk about some uplifting news. We know Joey Logano was here in Meriden a couple days ago, which is always a pleasure when he comes back into town. For those of you who don't know who he is, we'll get into that. And we're going to talk about anything that you guys want to talk about as well. So let's start off where we started the program, and that is what's going on in Cuba. Because I think it's very important. I think if people look at it from an outside perspective, really from an inside perspective, if you're looking at just in America, again, people take what we do here in America for granted and think that that's what happens all over the world. And that is really not the case. Like I said, these people are starving. They've had blackouts most of the time over the last year and a half. They've had, obviously, they have no freedom down there. They do as the government tells them to do. And if you step out of line, like I said, not just protest, you step out of line in any way, you could be arrested and prosecuted and beaten and murdered. So, all these things happen on a daily basis down in Cuba and other communist and socialist countries like them. Whether we're talking about Russia, we're talking about Venezuela, they're all the same. The Middle East, which I don't even have time today for that show, but I was watching a news story on Iran and how they were trying to kidnap the FBI foiled a plot to abduct a journalist, and they were going to bring her back to Iran, and they were basically going to freaking kill her, just like they did with the guy in Turkey. So they did in their embassy there. So it was fascinating to hear the story on it. I'm trying to get some more facts on it before we dive into it. But we'll probably do that sometime next week, because that is some scary stuff. Where they're that bold, they're gonna abduct a journalist here on American soil, get her to a boat, and then get her over to Iran. And who knows what would happen to her then? Just because she turned around and was going against the government. That's how these governments rule. This is what those governments do. That's how they operate. Cuba is no different. Cuba is no different than that. If you sit there and you criticize them, there are consequences to those actions. And again, I think as Americans, I think most of us take that for granted. So when we see these protests all over Cuba, most people are they're like, yeah, great. All right, that's good. But they don't understand the true magnification of what is going on over there. So, and I think the bigger problem that I have is the way our government responded to it. And their failure, and the White House's failure to say that communism is bad. Communism is bad. They couldn't even say it. So I'm going to play you a clip here. This is the White House press briefing. And the question was very, very simple. Very simple. And the answer should have been very simple. Communism is bad. But this is how they tiptoed around it. Listen to this.
Do you think that people are leaving Cuba because they don't like communism?
I think we've been pretty clear that we think people are leaving Cuba, or not leaving Cuba, or protesting in the streets as well, because they are opposed to the oppression, to the mismanagement of the government in the country. And we certainly support their right to protest. We support their efforts to speak out against their treatment in Cuba.
Why can't they just say, hey, communism is bad? We don't believe in communism. We believe in freedom here in America. We believe in freedom here in America. We believe in the right to sit there and say what you want, believe what you want, and have the opportunity to make a better life for yourself. Communism, socialism does not allow that. Does not allow that. And they couldn't even just, in a simple softball question, sit there and denounce communism. Because these people love it. They love control. They want control. That's what liberalism is all about. We talked about Marxism months ago. And we talked about the rules for radicals. They love it. They love socialism and communism. The far left of today. So they're not going to sit there and demonize communism, because in some ways they want to bring it here. And people are letting them. And that's the thing that kills me, is that most Americans are allowing it. Most Americans don't have a problem with it because, again, they're guaranteed something. They think everything's going to be free. Nothing in life is free. Nothing. Freedom is not free. We have to fight on a daily basis to preserve it. And I think when we see other countries and we see other individuals and other citizens standing up to a dictatorship that will kill them. I mean, if you listen to Cuba's president, he went on a 4-hour 4-hour television press about how he will squash the revolution that's coming at all means necessary. He has no problem killing his own citizens. He has no problem jailing them, beating them. He has no problem with that. He learned from the best. He learned from the Castro family. He's already telling you it will not be tolerated. And it will be dealt with. The American people should be standing up and applauding what's going on down there. Our government should be trying to help them. Now, I'm sure there's a lot of things going on in the background that we don't know about. And usually when things like this happen, they're not, I'll be honest, because, the Cuba government has said that they believe that there obviously are outside forces helping out. Is that true? Yes. I'm sure there is. I'm sure the CIA loves to do stuff like this. They love doing stuff like this. They did it in Venezuela, and they're probably doing it here. But does that make it any less important or effective? Or no. These people, again, are taking a risk of their lives, literally. And the United States should be doing everything possible to help them out, so they could be free and live without the fear of being killed for voicing their opinion. So we'll see where this plays out. Obviously they're doing the protests have been happening on a daily basis, which is really astounding. Especially, like I said, they're so rare. And hopefully we'll have some good news on it sometime next week, and so we'll keep track of it. But to bring things back to a more local front, like I said in the beginning, a good friend of Meriden, a good friend of Connecticut, a Middletown native, 2018 NASCAR champion, Joey Logano, who, in case you guys don't know who he is, he had donated through his fund, his charity, Logano Foundation. He resurfaced the midget Silver City racetrack over there on Hanover. So if anyone doesn't know where that is, it's right behind the American Legion. So Joey Logano, as a child, that was his home turf. He used to race there. So like I said, he was a Middletown native. He was born back in 1990 in Middletown, and he kept his roots here, and he comes back and visits as often as he can. And like I said, through his charity work, he was able to resurface the racetrack, which desperately needed it. So, but he came to pay a visit and to welcome back. He came back a couple days ago, and he visited the racetrack. And I think it's the little things like that go a long way, especially for the youth of our city and for the surrounding areas, because a lot of kids look up to him and they see what the opportunities are if they put in the hard work. And again, we always talk about, hard work and trying to pursue your dreams and, seizing on the opportunity that you have living in the greatest country in the world. And we are the greatest country in the world. And I will debate that with anybody who says otherwise. We live in the greatest country in the world, hands down. And this is a kid from Middletown who began racing in midget cars in Meriden, and he has gotten himself all the way to NASCAR. And in 2018, won I believe it's Nextel Cup, or I don't know exactly what next. I remember Winston Cup when I was growing up, then the Nextel Cup, So it's one of them. But he was the 2018 champion. So it's always nice to see, the good things. I like to make sure we point them out when they happen. So it is a great thing for him to come. Now, I know our good friend Mr. Thurston was on a Zoom call with him that same afternoon. But Doug's a car guy, so I'm sure it had something to do with vehicles. I didn't get a chance to pick his brain on exactly what they were talking about. But again, I thought it's definitely newsworthy. It's definitely something that needs to be pointed out when people come back to their roots and they give back to the communities that help them get to where they are today. And I think that is extremely important, is to make sure you're giving back to where you came from. Never forget where you came from, because when you're worth $28 million like he is and had so much success, some people could get lost in that. And it's nice to see that he has not, and he came back and took care of his own. So again, I want to applaud him for that and thank him. So now we have $36 million in the American Rescue Plan Act relief funds that are coming to the city of Meriden. And they have put together they almost have finished putting together a steering committee for these funds. And I'm going to try in the next week or so to get our finance director on so he could kind of explain what it is that these funds are for and what they can be used for, and to hopefully answer some questions that you guys may have on programs that you guys might want to see funded. Because I've tried reading through the regulations, but they've changed multiple times over the last couple months. So it's kind of hard to really put a finger on what you can and cannot spend the money on, which I think is going to be an issue going into the steering committee, because what you may think it is for today is not going to be what it's for tomorrow. So hopefully we'll get Kevin on, and hopefully he'll be able to give us a little bit of information on where it stands right now. But the people that have been put on it so far is obviously the mayor, the finance director, city manager, and then they're saying 3 sitting members of the city council, which so far we have Mike Carebetter for Republicans and Mike Rohde for Democrats. I don't know who the third one is yet. They have not said. And then this one is a little odd, a Board of Education member. Why? The Board of Ed has their own money. The Board of Ed has their own money coming. So there's no reason for a Board of Ed member to be anywhere near this. So why they want to put someone there, and if it's even right to do so, I would debate, and we'll get into that. And then two community members. And I like how they put this: not presently serving on city boards. Okay. That doesn't, I don't see what the difference is. It's a steering committee, so it doesn't matter whether they're serving on a board or not. I would want the best people in that position to sit there. If you're going to talk about spending $36 million, just because they're on a board doesn't mean they shouldn't be on this steering committee. And from what we were told, there are local business owners that have shown interest, nonprofit leaders, and members of the city's senior center. So, and no disrespect to the members of the senior center, no disrespect to the nonprofit leaders, but no, I don't want them on this steering committee. I want business owners on this, because there's no communication between business owners and the city. The city never lets us know what the hell is going on until the last minute, and then we're sitting there wondering what the hell is going on here. That is the one opportunity that this city has, is communication. And we have a communications director, which we pay a lot of money to. And they still screw up communication between us business owners and the city on a daily basis. So, I was reading through Excuse me. So I try not to read the RJ all that much because it's usually just nonsense. But I'm reading this and I'm listening to some of the quotes. And I'm thinking, okay, here's one from the mayor. I think there's going to be a learning curve. And that some federal guidelines have already changed a few times, which is true. Which is true. But if that is the case, why do we have, if rules are always going to change, why do we have a steering committee? Why are we putting this together? If we're not sure that things like that are not going to change on a constant basis. Because this steering committee could be there forever. And then funds will never get put forward. So that was one that really caught me off. And then let's see, where was the other? I thought I had marked them down here. Now, the committee is also tasked with deepening its understanding of the pandemic's impact locally. There's going to be some research involved on what the local impact has been on city services, nonprofits, businesses, schools, mental health. We already know. We already know what the effects are. A lot of restaurants closed. A lot of other businesses closed because you guys shut them down. Restaurants getting fined up the ass because your health department was on a power trip, just randomly walking down the street. Oh, no mask. The $100 fine to the business owner, where they have no ability to enforce it. But you're going to take away the restaurant's business license if they don't pay their fine. So yeah, there's plenty of ways I could tell you how it impacted us locally because of stuff that you guys did. But you're not going to want to hear about that. You're not going to want to hear about that. Mental health, schools. Yeah, schools. Oh, we could do a whole program on how it affected schools. And maybe we'll have to do that one day with the Board of Ed. We'll have to have the Board of Ed on and talk about how it's done that. Mental health. It's affected the mental health of many in this city. Keeping people on lockdown. Not allowing them to go places. Sure, that has an effect. Sure it does. That's nothing you're going to be able to fix now. Damage is already done. Damage is already done. There's nothing you can do about that now. And those of you who allowed it to happen, I mean, I'm sorry, I didn't stay in. I don't care what the government tells me. I'm free last time I checked in this country. But there were some serious mental health issues. Especially to the kids with the schools. But again, we'll talk about that with the Board of Ed and how they plan on dealing with that moving forward in the months to come with the new school year. And we're still trying to get the Secretary of Education on. He should come on and explain to the people of Meriden. It's his hometown. He should be on here explaining why things were done the way they were and what he sees the future. Now, there are some good points brought up where this money should be used. I think Dan Bernay, the minority leader, said it best. You know, we should be looking at long-term infrastructure investments like the water and sewer upgrades. Now, these water and sewer upgrades, yes, we get pissed at them all the time, but I always say we can't blame the city for that because these are mandates from, state and federal. Most of the time, it's federal EPA. And then they force us to do upgrades and don't give us the funding to do them. That's always been a point of animosity between state, federal, and the cities. You can't dictate to us what to do and have levels at a certain way and not give funding to do so. Instead, we have to jack up the prices of water and sewer, and people get pissed off, rightfully so. So I would like to see some of that money go into the investments into the water and sewer and lower the bills for the people. Because I do believe they are a burden on the community. And then my favorite counselor. Well, second favorite. Everyone knows who my favorite counselor is. Me and her are besties. But my second favorite, former mayor and city councilor Michael Rohde. He's going to be on this. I wish I was on this. I wish I was going to be on this steering committee. I think it would have been great for the city to have me on it. I think we would have had some fun. But here's where Rohde wants to see it. So Rohde said he would like to see some of the funding go towards the city's downtown economic development efforts to generate more jobs and to grow the tax base. And this is the kicker. COVID really slowed our momentum down. What fucking momentum are you talking about? What are you talking about? What momentum are you talking about? COVID really slowed our momentum downtown. Shit, last time I checked, sir, we're 5 years into this, and there is still not a single place down on 24 Colony. Not a single one. So unless you're thinking that if we're going to go backwards, I mean, 'cause that's the only momentum we got is going backwards. Stores are closing left and right downtown. The friggin' flooding down there did not fucking help your situation at all. It is not going to help you. That is not helping the cause at all. Are you kidding me? I the fact that he said that with a straight face, probably, because listen, I think he's half senile anyways. COVID really slowed our momentum downtown. I had to read it like 4 or 5 times. It still blows my mind every time I read it. COVID really slowed our momentum downtown. Could anyone tell me what's going on downtown that is productive? I can't. Colony Street still looks like it's deserted. The roads downtown are absolutely horrendous. Now, one of my favorite places downtown happens to be the downtown coffee shop. And I got to say, I'm probably there maybe five times a week. And I drive on that freaking road. It's like, come on. It's like, what are we doing? We're trying to attract people downtown, and this is what we got? This is what we got. Buildings that are falling apart, emptied storefronts, and pothole-ridden streets. Sign me up, guys. Sign me up. I'm investing down there. That's my kind of place. No way. No way. No one's doing that. No one's going to do that. And it's ridiculous that this is what happens when you have politicians in office that can't get out of their own way. They're so stuck in their mindset. Now Rohde, this has been Rohde's baby for decades. Downtown. Every dime he wants to spend is downtown. That's not the answer. Now, will you need to spend money downtown to create some kind of return? Yeah, because the Democrats did such a bang up fucking job at, screwing it up down there. But if we got money now, you need to spend that on the outskirts. We need to stop thinking about building inside out. So downtown first and then let it expand out. We need to expand outside and bring it in. That's what we need to do. Especially since obviously we have a lot more flood control to do. We have a hell of a lot more flood control. And now I love it. I was reading the article in the RJ about the flood control, issue that was happening last week. And I love how most of them said, again, they said the same thing that we argued about last week, is that, oh, well, it was only here for a couple hours. It didn't linger like it normally does. I mean, what kind of thinking is that? What kind of thinking is that? It's the dumbest way of thinking ever. Oh, because the water wasn't there that long, it doesn't matter. No, once water gets into your house, into your place of business, it's there. It's not receding 3 hours later like you guys all praised it was. They're like, oh, well, at 11 o'clock it was flooded. By 2:30 it was gone. Maybe on the streets it was gone. Not in people's freaking basements. Not in people's houses. Not in their businesses. Guess what? It's still there. But let's pat ourselves on the friggin' back. Let's pat ourselves on the back. We did such a good job. Look at us. Yay. But there's still work to be done. That's always going to be their answer. There's always work to be done because it leaves it open-ended and it gives them an escape. It gives them it gives them always an out. Because they'll never take blame for anything. They will never take blame. Sewers, the storm drains were backing up. Why? Why were they backing up? Maybe because of what it's been doing for decades, that nobody's been cleaning them? Maybe that's the reason why they're backing up? That was a problem before the green. It's going to be a problem after the green. You could have all the flow control you want. If you don't clean the damn storm drains to give the water a place to go, where do you think it's going to go? It's going to back up. That's why I dislike politicians. I swear. They absolutely blow my mind. Because again, people will believe this crap. There are plenty of people in this city that believe the BS that these people shovel out. We saw videos of it. It's just crazy to me. It's crazy to me that the way some people think. And it blows my mind. And I try not to harp on it too much, but it's really disturbing. It's really, really disturbing. But on another note, listen, come November, it's election time. Probably the most important election in the city of Meriden history. This is quite possibly the most important election in Meriden history. And I don't say that lightly. I don't say that lightly at all. I mean it to my core. If change can't happen this year, it's never going to happen. That's my belief going into this. When we talk again next Thursday, we will know who's running for office. I love this time of year. Absolutely love it. We get to find out which of our citizens are going to stand up and make that and answer that call to run for office and to try to better our city. And it's our job as citizens to listen to them and to question them and to support the ones that fit what we want in our city. Whether it's Republican, Democrat, Libertarian, Independent, doesn't matter. They all need to be heard. They all need to be questioned. And people need to vote and work and support the candidate they're choosing. And I'm hoping that we're going to do just that starting next week. Hopefully next Thursday we'll get some of the big shots on, and we'll see. We'll see. We'll see the slates that are brought up. I think some of these races, like I said, some of these races are going to be very, very interesting. I am still very hung up on at large. At large is going to be an amazing race, and I can't wait to see who the parties bring to the table. Now, if obviously both are held by Democrats, so I know we had the new guy, Chad, who took over for Majority Leader Lowell, and then you have Bruce Fontanella. Those are the two that are up. So whether or not they decide to run this year will be yet to be seen. I haven't heard one way or another on if they're going to run or not. So on the Republican side, I have some favorites, I will say. So, but we'll see how that plays out. Area 1 was Castro's old seat that the young lady Cortez had. I believe it's Cortez. You guys correct me if I'm wrong. I believe it's Cortez. I haven't met her yet. In fact, I haven't even heard from her yet. So I don't know if she's running or not. And it'd be interesting to see who Republicans bring out in 1. And then you have Area 2, which is LaRue Graham. And he has decided not to run. Thank God. Finally, he's fucking gone. The most spineless one out of the entire council is finally packing it up and leaving. I don't even think he lives in the state half the time anyways anymore. So he is gone. So it'd be very interesting to see who the Democrats put up. This is another one of those. Going to be a very interesting race. So we'll have to see who both sides bring out. Area 3, you got Dan Brunet, who is the minority leader for the Republicans. And then we'll have to see who Democrats decide to run. And then let's say Area 4, you have Bob Williams, who is up. And I don't know who Democrats are going to run. I heard rumors. I heard rumors that an elderly, I don't want to say elderly. That'd be mean. If what I hear is accurate, it should be a decent race. Should be a decent race. I still don't see them overthrowing Bob Williams, but it'd be an interesting race nonetheless. But like I said, then you have your 2 at large, and then you have the mayor's race, which again, I think could be quite interesting. Depends on who both sides bring. I'm taking it Kevin Scarpatti's going to run again on the Democrat side, but it'd be interesting to see who Republicans might bring out against him. But we'll find out next week. So I think there's a lot on the line. I think this is gonna be a very interesting race, and I expect there to be good debate. I think there's gonna be a stark difference in opinions from one side to the other. I don't think their anti-police movement is going to go well for them in this city. I think if you saw after seeing the survey that was done, I think that's a pretty accurate description on where the public stands on our police department. And I think that I think Democrats are going to make a horrible decision, which I'm fine with because I think they all need to be voted out anyways. So I see it being their downfall. I think their social justice, far left wing radical positions on things is going to be their downfall. And I can't wait to watch it. I can't wait to help it be their downfall. I can't help to give them a push off the cliff. And I will do everything I can to make sure I give them a good boot. Now, that being said, they still have a right to their opinions, and you still have a right to vote for them or not vote for them. And if they want to come on this show and voice their opinion and put their platform out there, they're more than welcome to do so. They will get some pushback, but Republicans are going to get pushback too. I expect to see certain things. I'm a strong conservative. So if a Republican thinks they're going to come on here and decide that, they're just going to spew moderate things and try to sit there and think they're going to play nice, they're going to get pushback. I'm universally harsh. I don't care what party you're from. And I think we've proven it on this show. We really don't care which party you're from. We will blast you if you're a Democrat. We'll blast you if you're a Republican. If you go against the people of this city, you go against our police department in a negative way, you're gonna hear it. And like I said, you can go back and watch our shows from the previous. I am an equal opportunity offender. I don't care who you are or what party you're from. Don't ever try to throw our police or our citizens under the bus. It will not go well. But I do believe, again, at the end of the day, there's going to be a very clear difference between Democrats and Republicans. And I sit there and say it even still today. I mean, to me, sometimes I find it hard to tell the difference between Republicans and Democrats up at City Hall. That's just my opinion. That's my opinion. Sometimes it's very hard for me to tell who the fuck is a Democrat and who's a Republican up there, because they all act the same. And that's a problem for me. It's a huge problem for me. It's a huge problem for me. And it will continue to be a problem for me, and I'll continue to voice my opposition to that kind of stuff every time I see them do something stupid. Hence, racism is a public health crisis. Probably the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my entire life, and still pisses me off to this day. And I won't forget about it. I can't forget about it. And I have not forgiven everybody who has voted for that. I don't care what party you're on. That was the start of all this nonsense. So it's very irritating to me. But again, I'm very hopeful that some of these candidates are going to be some great ones. I'm looking forward to a great race this year. But like I said, this is that year. It's very unique because there's so many open seats this year. There really is. Or not even, they might not be open, but the people that have been in them for less than a year. So I think that leads to some very interesting races that we're going to have to follow very closely. And I'm hoping the RJ is going to get away from this whole, the mayor race. Remember, in this city, the mayor means nothing, really. The only thing the mayor does is break ties and runs the meeting. That's it. They are more of an ambassador for the city. See, most people don't realize that because the mayor always takes the blunt of all the bad things and never gets the credit for anything. Because the city council loves to just let all the crap go right to the mayor's office when they know the mayor had nothing to do with it. But the mayor is an ambassador to the city. That's their job. They are the ambassador. They give you, they cut all your ribbons for you. They have some veto power, which should have been used this year. Should have been used this year. And there's no reason for that veto power not to have been used this year. They had an opportunity. There was an opportunity to cut the tax rate for the citizens of Meriden, something that every other town around us really did, except for Meriden. It was a missed opportunity. It was a missed opportunity for the council and for the mayor. And we'll see what his answers are for not doing so. Hopefully he'll be on in the months to come, as if he decides that he is running for re-election, he will be welcomed on this show, and we will get some answers to maybe those questions. So the mayor is, well, again, he's an ambassador, so he should be the one that's praising the city and praising the people. But, again, my issue with the mayor right now is that he was all for the resolution of racism as a public health crisis. He was all for it. So therefore, it's already a non-starter for me. That's already a non-starter for me. And this is someone like myself who has been pretty supportive of the mayor in the past. I've been pretty supportive of him in the past. But unfortunately, I can't do it. Like I said, that vote right there is something that has just it's pissed me off to no end, because it's allowed for all this nonsense and all this race baiting and all this division to happen in our city, and it's led by the biggest social warrior, justice warrior of all, which is the majority leader Sonia Jelks, who is going to be the demise of the city council. She is going to be the demise of the city council. And like I said, I can't wait to be able to watch it firsthand. Can't wait. And by the way, my offer still stands for the town hall, for the debate. So I haven't forgotten about it. I want to do a debate for charity. So Majority Leader Jelks, or anyone that's watching that talks to her, me and her on a debate on racial issues for charity, and I am putting up the first $500, and we're going to do it for charity. We'll give back to a Meriden organization where you can break it up. I don't care how you do it. And like I said, the NAACP can moderate it. So you can have all your questions up front. You can have all your answers ready, and then we'll go to town. So I will put up $500 first as a starting point, and we'll raise some funds. And the people will get a good indication on where you stand on issues, and see where the Democratic Party stands. Speaking of Democrats, speaking of being lost somewhere, has anyone seen Councilwoman Tomasetti? Has anyone seen her? Because she's been missing for the last 6 straight city council meetings. 6 straight. They're Zoom meetings. They're not even in person. Where the hell is she? I'm ready to sit there and put a missing persons report out on her. Can anyone tell me where she's at? I'm going to start putting her on milk cartons. She has just gone MIA. MIA. It's absolutely amazing. So, guys, if anyone has seen her, please, please, please let her know that we're hoping she's doing well. And to please check in with us to make sure that she's alive. Because, again, I haven't seen her, heard from her, and she hasn't been on the last 6 city council meetings. So, Let's hope that she's doing well, and she's going to bring herself back in front of the people sometime soon. Speaking of being back in front of the people, when the hell is the city council going to meet in person? Where the hell are they going to meet in person? There is no reason they should not be meeting in person. They should be in front of their constituents. And I think that's going to be another area that is going to be at the displeasure of the citizens, and they're going to speak out about it. And I think they're going to vote those people who don't want to get back into face-to-face forums. If you don't want to face your constituents, leave office. Just leave. That's your job. Your job is to sit there and talk and listen to your constituents. And that's in person, so they can see you and talk to you. Not hide behind a camera. So, I had to stand. So, it looks like Paul just joined us. I'm late to the party. I had to stand off with flying squirrels. Yay, everyone knows how I feel about squirrels. Don't mess with squirrels. Squirrels worry me. And that's just like one of my this is like one of my I don't know, it's not a pet peeve. It's just my small fears that I have is squirrels. Because, you go around, you walk through a bunch of them, and no, I won't do it. So, but yes, you are late to the party. You missed all the fun. But as we close out tonight, I will say unfortunately, we're not going to have a show on Sunday. It is someone's birthday. So I will be off. So celebrating a birthday. And so we will join each other again on next Thursday, since I will be out of town on Sunday. So I will, we'll when we come back on Thursday, we are going to discuss obviously the slates. We'll see if we can have some guests on that could explain the slates and why they chose the ones they chose, and we'll go from there. And then it'll be an hour of analysis on these races, and we'll see where they stack up and see which ones are going to be really interesting and which ones are going to be like, all right, maybe. So we got a lot of work to do come starting next week. So, and things are going to get quite busy around here. So, but again, it is important that everyone make sure that they keep track of everything that's going on in their neighborhood, in their town. If you're not from Meriden, obviously, check on who's running in your area. If we have some really good races, I know we might have a couple of good ones out in Wallingford or Berlin that we'll probably cover, since we do have quite a few people that do listen afterwards from Berlin and from Wallingford. So we will look forward to maybe getting into some of those also. We're just not going to be strictly Meriden. So we got a lot of work ahead of us, and we are excited to do so. But until then, like I said, we will not be here on Sunday, but we will join back together next Thursday. And like I said, it should be an interesting show, and I'm really excited to see what both sides bring to the table. So, as always, guys, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I always enjoy my time here with you. I love and respect each and every one of you. And until Thursday, as always, God bless you, and God bless this amazing country of ours. As it's the only one left. Speaking of freedom, other countries love to be us, and we love to help other countries become us. So I love you guys, and I will talk to you guys next week.
And a million faces born together, made for elevation. And my soldier won't surrender faith. It's like a fire that never burns to embers. The voice of the unheard. Love is the making history. To the fire on the water, used to be a slave, but now you are a conqueror.
They can take my